Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps, a program where we talk about the situation and the work of the Catholic Church, especially in those regions where help is most needed. Sri Lanka is a country that has been rocked by a bloody civil war, raging the island state until 2009. Deep scars were left by the conflict. Then in 2019, a series of devastating suicide attacks occurred on Easter Sunday, 2 on Catholic churches and 1 on a Protestant church, leaving 250 dead and over 500 injured. In July of 2022, the presidential palace in Colombo was stormed by hundreds of protesters who saw the government as being responsible for the devastating economic crisis that the country is suffering. Here to speak about the mission of the Catholic Church and the challenges that she faces in Sri Lanka is Bishop Anton Jayakody, Auxiliary Bishop from the Archdiocese of Colombo. Your Excellency, welcome to our program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Excellency, we prepared a short video about a little bit of history of Sri Lanka, the work that the Church has been doing for many years. So it will help us as an introduction to our conversation. So here is a country profile from Sri Lanka.
The island nation of Sri Lanka, often called the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, offers a diverse array of attractions within its compact dimensions. Scarred by more than 25 years of civil war, today Sri Lanka is on an uneasy path to healing. The Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka is a tropical island in the Indian Ocean just off the southern tip of India. An ancient civilization took root on the island first with the arrival of the Sinhalese from India in the 6th century BC and later Buddhism in the 3rd century BC. The might and wonder of the Kingdom of Sri Lanka developed in the former capital city of Anuradhapura, which maintained ties with the Roman Empire and Europe through its highly prized cinnamon and spice export. Ceylon became a sovereign state in 1948, eventually changing its name to Sri Lanka. After independence, ethnic tensions would surface when the Sinhalese Buddhist majority asserted its nationalist views through various laws and the mass deportation of Indian Tamils working in the tea plantations. In the face of continued discrimination, Tamil disillusionment grew. A small group, the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, or the Tamil Tigers, turned violent, demanding an independent state. In 1983, the Sri Lankan army was pulled into a long 25-year civil war with the Tamil Tigers, which claimed as many as 100,000 lives and displaced many others. Today, allegations of massive human rights abuses and war crimes by both sides in the last stages of the conflict remain unexplained. Criticism and investigation into the matter have been suppressed by the government. The economy of Sri Lanka has picked up steam after the civil war. Tourists have returned to enjoy the enchanting coastline and the natural and cultural wonders of the interior lands. Sri Lanka is the oldest continually Buddhist country in the world. Theravada Buddhism, which arrived on the island in the 3rd century BC, is practiced by 70% of the population. Hinduism is the second largest religion and is practiced by Sri Lankan Tamils, who have been present on the island since the 2nd century BC. The country is in many ways a model for religious coexistence. However, there has been a resurgence of Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism with extremist groups like Buddhu Bala Sena or Buddhist Power Force, which has attacked Christian churches and preachers as well as Muslim communities. Christianity was present in Sri Lanka before colonial times, taking root along Indian Ocean trade routes. With the arrival of the Portuguese and their missionaries in the 16th century, Christianity made significant inroads. When the Dutch took control, they encouraged their own missionaries of the Dutch Reformed Church. The British, in turn, allowed Anglican and other Protestant missionaries to evangelize. Today, about 8% of the population is Christian, with Roman Catholics numbering about 1.2 million.
I think the Catholic Church in Sri Lanka is unique by its closeness to the people. The concern for the needs of the people is quite strong. For them it's natural that when a shepherd or when the priest goes, he means a lot to them. Not because of an individual, it's not an individual closeness, but it is the closeness of the church.
Despite its minority status, the Catholic Church has been a vital member of the society in times of crisis. Following the tragic event of the 2004 tsunami, the Church was instrumental in aid distribution and the care of those affected.
We were able to react immediately, and we had our own network, and we were able to do humanitarian service to most of these affected people at that time. And the church was really the forefront in this. The church was very much looked upon for its humanitarian service to all, without any difference of religion or races.
The country still remains in need of reconciliation after the war. As Roman Catholics are the only religious group that bridges the Tamil and Sinhalese ethnic divide, they are in a unique position to give witness and offer healing for the deep scars of Sri Lanka's long civil war.
In Sri Lanka, practically all the dioceses, there are these two groups, Sinhalese and Tamils, of course in different percentages. In my diocese, we have about 10 to 15% Tamil people. So we have that reconciliation or coexistence as something natural, which is something sacred and precious to us.
Welcome back. Today we're here with His Excellency Anton Jayakody, Auxiliary Bishop of Colombo. Your Excellency, in the video we were looking at the history and the sequel of the Civil War. It's interesting that you were ordained as a priest right in the middle of all this. How did it feel to you to start your priestly vocation, your mission, in the middle of this terrible, bloody conflict?
Actually, this bloody war started when I was studying in the seminary, major seminary in Kandy, where all the ethnic groups study together. So the first time I felt that it has some repercussions on the seminarians themselves because of this ethnic war. We all began to feel...
You felt the conflict
really
with your classmates?
With classmates. We were thinking of why are we fighting among us for this,
right.
As Catholics, we should come together. So for the first time we felt at that time In 1985, I was ordained. This bloody war actually really started in 1983. That was the first time some soldiers were killed in Jaffna, which in a way started some problems in Colombo, attacking the Tamil shops and killing some people. So that is the first time that we came to feel the gravity of it, the civil war.
Your Excellency, and what did you feel when you were looking, because it was also, as you mentioned, it affected the seminary, but it affected the church in general, because in the Catholic Church you have people from the different factions of this conflict. How did you deal with this, and how did the church dealt with it?
I was very very anxious at that moment because what will our future be in this situation?
Right.
We were together, studying together, and we were going to all over the country without any problem. Then immediately the fear came to me that how I will do my mission in future, because I have gone to Jaffna, gone to Mana, the other areas, and without any fear, without any problem, I have served them. Even during the cyclone, I have gone and helped them, the people, for 2 months in Batiklo, among the Tamils. Though I did not know very much of that language, but I worked with them for 2 months, cutting coconut trees, cleaning roads with them.
May I ask you, what is your ethnic background?
I am a Sinhalese.
You are a Sinhalese. So
yeah.
the fact that what you're telling us now is that despite this animosity between those two groups, the Tamil people were willing to receive help from you.
Yes, always, always. Because we were together as the seminarians, therefore they were willing to accommodate us at any time. There was no problem. But really, I began to feel this when I became the rector of the major seminary. That was in 2007, the height of the problems. That is the time the civil war was at its height. And so I was the rector, and there were two groups, the Sinhalese and Tamils, living together. And some of the Sinhalese brothers had their brothers and maybe parents as soldiers, and Tamil brothers they had in the LTT cadres. So some brothers of the Sinhalese were killed as soldiers, and Tamil side some brothers were killed. So I began to feel, then I was very anxious. What will happen in the seminary, whether there will be clashes in the seminary.
Right.
I was very happy to say that when the things began to get worse, they came together, and every evening in the chapel they prayed together, these people. And they watched the TV, but nothing came out. No accusation, no hints passed to others, but they prayed together, all of them there. Because some of the Tamil brothers, they were missing their parents. They did not know for 2 years where their parents were, where their brothers were. So I was feeling with them. Then the holidays came. Then the bishop told me not to send the Tamil brothers to their homes, because the LTT will take them as their cadres. They will be recruited. Therefore, kindly find places for them. Then each of the Sinhalese brothers took one of them to their families.
Wow, what a beautiful testimony.
Yes, to their houses for 2 weeks. They kept these brothers in their houses. That was a beautiful thing that I experienced in my life, how we can be instruments of peace in this country which is ablaze in the fire. Then after that I had some experience, because even during the height of war I used to go to Mana, Jaffna, passing through all these soldiers, and then you call peace zones, and then with the LTT. So I used to go there. Then one of the brothers narrated a story which really I felt very, very, very sad hearing to him. He said after 3 years he went in looking for his mother, in searching for his mother. So he was going to this refugee camp. He was going through the fences to look for his mother. Then one lady, very thin lady came and shouted, "Son, son." Though he saw his mother, he couldn't recognize. She has grown so thin during these 2 years. So I really felt at that moment, if it had happened to me, what would be my reaction at that?
It could be devastating.
Yes.
Your Excellency, but so this is really one of the main missions that you have.
Yes.
And by you, I mean the church, and in particular you as a bishop, of course. What kind of efforts are you doing as a church to promote this reconciliation?
Yes, actually with the cardinal and all the bishops together, bishops conference, we have all these different bishops from different ethnic groups coming together. And at the moment that we are insisting that there should be a new constitution giving equal rights, or rather what should be given to all the types of people. This is what we are insisting, that ethnic problem is not solved still in our country.
Right.
It is just they have put some plasters and covered up. But we all are insisting, very especially in the constitution, there should be some solutions to be found for this. They should be given that whatever that they want to live as human beings, their rights to be respected. So that we want to do that we are insisting. That is what Cardinal and all of us are now fighting for, a new constitution which should include all these aspects.
And this is very much in line with the social doctrine of the church.
Yes.
Because at the end we're talking about human rights, and we all have the same dignity as children of God. Monsignor, another very, very painful episode in your country, something that I was mentioning in the introduction, and it's the attacks of 2019 in other date than Easter Sunday. Can you tell us what it meant to you?
Yes, that was that Sunday morning, early in the morning after Mass, I was standing near a tree in the bishop's house. Then Cardinal came in his car and asked me to get into the car. Then his eyes were filled with tears, and he told me, "There are bomb blasts in the churches, let us go." So 2 of us went. First to the Kochikade, that is in Colombo, the church. And as soon as we got down, the police told us not to go. There may be other bombs inside. But Cardinal said, "No, I want to see my people." So with me, he went there, and to see some of the parts of the bodies here and there. So we couldn't, in a way, see the scene. It was so horrible. So immediately the thing that came to my mind is, why?
Yeah.
Why God did this? That was the immediate, these innocent people who came to worship God, what happened? So 2 of us went back because the police told us not to go. Then immediately after that, I went to the other church in Katuapitiya, where I went inside and saw parts hanging on the roof and on the statues, and still people crying still to get. So it was a terrible scene which I will never forget. And after that, for a week, I couldn't sleep at all. Every night, I used to dream about that scene which I couldn't even now erase from my mind. Mm-hmm. So it was a very sad event, because these innocent people who came to worship on Easter Sunday, to celebrate life, the new day. Especially at Katuapitiya, there is especially after Mass, there is a procession of children with the statue. So all the children came, and then we went out to get dressed. At that moment only, otherwise so many children would have been killed at that moment. They went at that moment. But at that moment, the first moment itself, the cardinal immediately addressed the nation and said, this is a work of some misguided youth. Therefore, this is not by any ethnic group. Don't do anything to the Muslims. That was his first appeal, because there would have been very, very severe ethnic problem at that moment. Especially in Negombo, where the center of the Catholics in Sri Lanka, which is called Little Rome, the people would have got
because the concentration of
Catholics. They would have killed all the Muslims in the place. But with his insistence on not to attack anybody, not to do anything, just to keep quiet, that he will look after all these things, the people kept quiet. Actually, first 2 weeks, it is the cardinal who governed the country. At that moment, the people said, because every moment, every half an hour, he gave a kind of a press conference.
Message.
New things happening. So people were legally waiting what will happen hereafter, like that. The Buddhist monks also came together. Then two of us, Cardinal, myself, we went to the Muslim mosques to protect them, because there may be some agitations at that moment. Some will get agitated. So we went to the Muslim mosques in there, and with the Maulavis there, we stayed for some time and calmed them and showed them that we are with them. It is not their work, which is by some misguided youth. So that is how the situation was controlled on those 2-3 days.
I would love to continue talking about this, particularly because I would like to know if that question of why did you allow this God changed to something else. But unfortunately, we're running out of time, and I would really like to hear your opinion about the crisis that literally exploded on the summer of 2022. We all saw in the news people taking over the presidential palace, and this was just a reaction to a severe economic crisis. How is the church facing this new challenge?
Actually, the church has been with the people, and we wanted to be with the people at all times. So we saw the political, economic and social upheaval at that time, about a year ago, all this started because of the corrupt politicians and insincere and activities of them, and their work is not transparent. The money spent by them is not accounted for. Therefore, people were really agitated because of that. And also, whereas the people were deprived of their basic things like food, fuel, medicine, transport, these things were deprived of. Therefore, they were very, very becoming angry, whereas the politicians were living a very comfortable life, and as if nothing has happened, they were living. So the cardinal and all the bishops, we came together. We issued a very strong statement asking the government to take immediate actions to give some relief to the people, because not the so poor people, not the rich people, the middle class was suffering a lot. But they were suffering silently because they want to keep the social status. At the same time, they had not enough means to live. So somebody has to speak. So the Bishops' Conference issued a statement strongly condemning the present situation and requesting the government to take immediate actions to give some relief. For this, some Buddhist monks and the Muslim Maulavi and Hindu Kurukkal all joined us. So we formed a committee, like a religious committee for the people. And we started issuing statements and giving them, asking them to give this relief to the poor. But the government was going on. as if nothing is happening in the country. They were unconcerned totally. Whereas the people came to us and there was nobody that they could go to, only to the religious leaders. So we had to be with them at that moment, nothing else, because we cannot align with the politicians or leaders.
Involved in a political fight, of course.
Yeah.
Your Excellency, so many challenges in your archdiocese, and well, I'm sure that our audience, our viewers, will accompany you and your people with their prayers, because in situations like this, what else can we do, Your Excellency, but prayer and trust in God?
Actually, I think that more than any what do you call, more than material help, that we need the spiritual help and also psychological help for the people at this moment. That is what we are doing for them at the moment in the church, that we are, for them to feel that we are with them. That is what is important. The church is with them. So whatever the things that we could do, that we do them. And also when these struggles were going on, all the Catholic priests and nuns, you must have seen, they were with the people. Yes. And while these girls were out at night in the golf-face and other things, the religious, our sisters were there to protect the girls whole night, taking times, taking turns, that they stayed all night to be with them. And also the priests, the cardinal told them, then thousands and thousands of priests, they came together whenever he asked them. That this was a blessing in disguise for the whole Catholic Church to come together at this moment and also to be with the people. That we began to feel that we need people and we should be with the people.
Yeah, the Church, Mother Church that suffers with her children. Your Excellency, thank you very much for this time.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us in another program of Where God Weeps. If you want to know more about the work that the Church is doing in Sri Lanka, we encourage you to contact the information at the end of this program. Thank you, and God bless.